What's going on, guys? It's Nick here, back with another fantasy football video. This is an important one. I think a lot of you guys want to ask all these questions and you want to know this information, but you don't know where to go for it, and you don't know if this information is available for free, and it is. So I have it saved on the side, but so you guys know, it's the RotoViz site, but it's kind of hard to find. So I just type in it's RotoViz Screener, and then just click this first one. And I believe this is only for football. You might have to pay for other ones, but for football it's completely free once it loads. So you get to this site and it looks confusing. Looks like you don't really know how to use it. But I'm going to walk you through everything, and then I'm going to walk you through the Excel. That's probably the most important part. A lot of people hate Excel, but I'm going to show you how to like use that. So don't touch any of this stuff for most things you're going to look up. So what you want to know is, like, what are you looking up first? I have saved a running back and a wide receiver version of this that just has like everything relevant. Let's say you're looking up one thing. You want to know how many running backs over the age of 30 or 31 and older, we'll say. Running backs age 31 and older who've had 1,100 rushing yards or more. And you don't know where to find that. You're typing into Google, you don't know where to go. Go to this site. So what position? Running back. That was easy. Running back, then don't touch any of this. You'd think maybe you sort by age, but it's easier if you have like another question to just leave everything. So then I come down here, I always make this 16 for the weeks because that's what most fantasy are. We're going to get rid of this because it's running backs, and we want age. We can throw in year. That would be like third year in the league, fourth year in the league. It's not relevant for this, but if you want to look up like a rookie thing, then you want it for that. Look up rushing, can't even see. Alright, rushing touchdowns. Big one we want is rushing yards. We can look up rushing yards per carry, but just keep typing in RU for this would be rushing, and then RE is receiving. And I think I guess we can do rushing attempts. Not that one. I mean, we really don't need it for this. And then you don't have to touch any of this. This stuff would be like, so scoring margin, you can look up stuff like Allen Robinson 2 years ago. He was getting a lot of his yards when they were down by 2 scores. So you could sort like down 14, -14 to -59, stuff like that. You can sort big plays with this. So there's a lot of different things you can use, but if you're just looking up one particular thing, you don't have to do any of that. And then search database, and all of it comes down here. But again, you can't really do anything with this. So then you just click download data, and as long as you have Excel, which I'm pretty sure every computer has Excel, you get this. Now again, a lot of people don't know what to do at this point. For Excel, this is version 2013 maybe? I think 2013. I don't really know how to look that up. But all the functions are going to be the same. It's just where they are. So we're going to use the sort and filter. Top row. Sort and filter. Filter. That means these are things we're going to be filtering everything down here by. And then I like making it centered, and then just double click this like middle bar. I don't know, it just lets you see everything that you have. Click there. So now we got that. Now you want to do conditional formatting. You don't have to, but it lets you kind of visualize when things are good or bad. So if you want to like look across things, this is really good for baseball. If you want to look across different stats, and there's like a bunch of different things, but just click the column. So click like J up here, then just go to formatting, color scales. And then it depends on what you're looking up, but the first one means higher is better. So like you obviously want a higher yards per carry. And if you wanted a stat really low, so in football, I guess interceptions, you would want like a 3 to be green. So you'd click the other one. But for everything here, like yards, attempts, touchdowns, you want everything to be green. So you have to do that for each one. You can't like highlight, because then it'll cross everything, which isn't good. So like the smaller numbers yards per carry will all be red basically. Year and age you don't have to do. So then you can sort. So you click this little triangle here, and you get something like this. If you want to individually pick stuff out, then you do it there. If you want to filter by anything, you go there. But we want to filter maybe large to small. And so we know the most rushing touchdowns was LT in 2006. Also, this site only does to 2000. So it doesn't go any before that, but that's kind of like the most relevant. A lot of times I just do maybe last like 10 years just because the game's changing so much, things are going to change. But for what were we looking up? We were looking up age 31. So we go to age, and we want filter greater than or equal to 31. Okay, so that just takes out, you can see on the right here, it goes from 31 to cell 45. That's because it took out everything else because they didn't meet that qualification. So if you just want to, like, you messed up or something, you don't want something in there, just clear your filter and then everything goes away. But we didn't mess up. So number filter, again, greater than or equal to 31, enter, takes everything out. We wanted to know rushing yards 1100 or more. So you can again do a number filter greater than or equal to 1100. And there you go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There are 6 running backs age 31 or more to get 1100 or more yards. And again, you could do more filters. You could be like, and double-digit touchdowns. Well, it's just going to bring us these 2. I'm not going to do that. But I use this for, I think Melvin Gordon was a really bad one. So again, sort and filter, clear. I don't have all the data for Melvin Gordon's thing. Actually, maybe I do. So he was under 4 yards a carry and then went from 0 to double-digit touchdowns. So, all right, let's just look that up. So another thing, it's going to give you, so these 2 columns right here, or all these columns here. Q1 for these means current year. N1 means next year. So LT had 28 touchdowns when he was 27. His next year is this N1 column where he had 15 touchdowns, 1,400 yards, 4.7 yards per carry. So you're really only looking at this column if you're looking for something this year. All right. But for the Melvin thing, we wanted consecutive years, 4.9 yards per carry and under. I don't remember his exact yards per carry. But we'll say number filter less than or equal to 3.9. And then the next year's yards per carry also less than or equal to 3.9. And then he went from 0. So we're going to deselect everything and just do 0. And then the next year, rushing touchdowns, number filter greater than or equal to 10. And there are 2. Melvin Gordon and Stephen Davis. Sorry if he's good and I don't know who he is, but Stephen. But this is something you can do. You can be like, wow, Melvin Gordon's really bad. He had 3.5 yards a carry, then 3.9 yards per carry. But look at how good he was last year. I mean, he almost had 1,000. I think it was through 10 games, something like that. You can see, you can put games on here too. Like, I'll go back to this. So like there's a lot of things you can add to this, and like games was one. So I could have put on games and said only give me people who played 10 or more games. Like if you're looking up something, how good do sophomore wide receivers do after 1,000 yards in their rookie year? And you can say, well, I want to filter out people who got hurt, so I can filter out maybe you had to play 12 or more, and you can look at things like that. But this is what I use for so many of the things. That's basically everything. I mean, like I can open up, I don't know what I said there. Oh God. I can open up my file that I have. I have a lot of stuff here, but so running back data since 2000. This is what, I mean, you don't have to look at these charts and stuff, but these are all the things that I have. So I just have more things. I can look at rushing attempts and everything, but again, you just build whatever you want. Maybe you want to look at receiving yards for touchdowns. Just do, or for touchdowns? Receiving yards for running backs. So say like how good was David Johnson last year? So you can just go down and click receiving yards and add that to it. And then maybe like this is when you do use ESPN, so you do David Johnson stats. And you just go to NFL.com and you say, okay, David Johnson, 1,300 rushing yards, 879 receiving yards. And you're like, how many people have done that? So, also, PPR, that's actually a big thing for you guys. I'll go back to that thought in a second. But PPR and half-point PPR, and then I think STD is standard. So I had PPR on here just because I don't have anything else. Kind of curious who had. Oh yeah, LT's year was the biggest, 473. So last year's David Johnson, that was 4th all time for PPR. So that's how good of a year David Johnson had. But if I want to say, also remember, so if you look stuff up, we see 1239 for his yards, and then we only see 1233. Remember, he got hurt in week 17. He had like, what would that be, 6 rushing yards? Because, remember, I sort by 16 weeks because people rest in week 17, and most championships aren't that long. Or most championships are in week 16, so I just take that out of the data. So, wow, 1,749 rushing yards through 16 weeks. That's crazy. Wow. But, anyways, we were going to look that up. So we want to just sort number filter greater than or equal to, let's just say 1,200 rushing yards. And they had 879 receiving. So we'll go over to receiving yards. Greater than or equal to, we'll say 870. 875. Well, that's unfortunate. What did I do? Oh, his last game. So he didn't even meet that criteria. So clear this one. We'll sort largest to smallest. Yeah. So he had some receiving yards in that last game, which is why, again, you don't look at this data. But it was the most. I just sorted biggest to smallest for receiving yards. And of the people who had 1,200 or more, he had the most. Steven Jackson, really. 2006 Steven Jackson. How about that? But he had, I mean, that's, wow, that's a really good year. But anyways, that's really what I wanted to show you guys. And again, the conditional formatting isn't necessary, but you can see like the darker, I mean, because your eyes go right to that. Rushing touchdowns 25. It's just something to look at. If you see a really low yards per carry, that could be an indicator that maybe, like if I cleared this and I sorted largest to smallest by PPR points, and I just went down here, excuse me, and I waited for like a bad number. There really aren't that many bad numbers, but like a 3.8, like maybe I can use that as an indicator. I don't know if you could also control F. So like we'll look for another bad player, Melvin Gordon. And I just enter Melvin, and it's gonna give me, you just do like find the next one. He's only gonna have 2 because he's only had 2 seasons. And remember so I mean look at how many data points there are. 2,700, because this is all of the years since the year 2000. So every player is gonna have all of their years in here. So Melvin's got 2, and you can't really see the 3.6. It is slightly a lesser color. I wish that was a little bit better. But if you were just looking up a particular person, like you just wanted to look up Le'Veon Bell, not Brell, and you wanted to find like where his finish was. Oh, there's a lot of Le'Veons, or there's a lot of Bells, not a lot of Le'Veons. But you could just see where a guy finished for the year. You could combine in different positions when doing this, but I would not recommend it. I would say stick to, like you can see up here, running back data since 2000. So I know when I'm looking stuff up, I just go to the running backs because it's not really relevant to compare the PPR points. I do compare the PPR points, and you guys will see in future videos, just to get like value. So like the value of hitting on, if I sort by season, just select everything and I go to last year, I can see the PPR points and I say, okay, how much better was the 5th running back to the 5th wide receiver? So I can see the value it provided, things like that. That's when it would be good to look between them. But honestly, it's easier to just have 2 different Excel files and then do the research in a separate one. It's not as good because then you can't count like this because there's gonna be like wide receivers in there. Oh, also, I'll do that on a different one. So this is a super easy one. Maybe I should make this filter like just add some more. So add some more things. If there's like a lot here, you can just do equals count. Okay, don't hit enter. Hit tab, and then just go like that. No, not what we wanted. There's a bunch of different counts. So this one's just the number of cell. Oh, that's a problem you're gonna run into. So you can't actually count these. It's a different function, and I'm not going to get into that because it's going to count like the cells in between these two. Like there's 1,300 cells in between these two. So don't use count. It's not relevant. Sorry, I almost made you do that. But anyways, that's how you look stuff up. I'm sure there's a function for this because I've done it. I just don't remember what it is. Sorry. But there is a function for it. So that's where I'm going to end this video. Again, it's RotoViz Screener. Type that into Google instead of going to the RotoViz website. It's easier to find. I don't know. It's probably easy to find. I'm just dumb and can't find it. It would be... See, like, I don't even know what it would be under for this. But again, don't touch any of this stuff. Honestly, I only sort this to 16 unless I'm looking for... Does he get a lot of yards when he's down versus up? And then all of the different things in here. Some of them I have no idea what they are. Like I don't even know what that stands for there. And like there's like weight and height and stuff, but that's completely irrelevant. But you're gonna get it down here and then download the data into Excel. And then you can just conditional format, you can sort things, and that's how you look up stuff. So that is how you look up really any question you have fantasy football related. I mean, I'm not sure there's anything you can't look up, and you can't look up like consecutive games. Like you can't look up individual games in here, so you can't say how many times the guy had over 200 yards. But that's not really relevant when you're thinking about drafts. Like it's not a relevant thing to say how many 200 yards. Like Jay Ajayi, like how rare was it to have back-to-back 200-yard games? It's like, well, that's nice maybe for in-season, and I'm sure Fantasy Labs has that, but $60 a month for the paid version of that. I'm sure they have that, but this is for draft research, and that is not a relevant stat. Just look at the season stuff. So that's the end of this video. Hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, hit that like button. Subscribe if you are new. I'm sure I have an annotation on the screen. You can look at a previous video we've done. But that's the end of this video, and thanks for watching.